Okay, everybody, what is up? Well, here we are. Today I just thought that we could talk about a few design ideas for some watchtowers to make along with your castles or your fortresses, you know, what have you. And yeah, so we're here back again on our speed run save, but you know, I just decided to mess around a little bit and made ourselves a Blackstone castle over there, which you can see in the previous video. But yeah, going back, we're just gonna talk about some watchtowers and well, mainly the designs that I've thought about, and you know, some key points which were pretty helpful in me making these towers anyway. So first off, we have this very simple yeah, basically just a 5x5 cube 2-story watchtower. As you can see here, pretty easy to farm the materials that you need. You're just gonna need some stone, some cobblestone. You know, you could just mix and match with whatever you need. I also used oak wood for the flooring. As you can see here, it also has some nice tall windows the higher you get up, and you have a good observation area here. You know, you can overlook the village and the river and the small fishing hut. So yeah, that's basically it. You know, pretty simple, and actually looks really nice with the texture pack and the shaders. And going over here, we have a unique design because I thought we should include some Oriental style watchtowers, and the only thing that I could find was that Japanese watchtowers are usually built like this. Usually made with redwood, so I had to go with mangrove because crimson wood isn't exactly as red as you'd like. So you know, still pretty simple. Basically just a 5x5 square with basically just, you know, small house at the top, and we use warped wood for the shingles, and we also have some mangrove fences. So to get a better view, let's fly upwards, and you'll see there that the roof actually looks pretty good. Let's land on the warp tree, but yeah, looks pretty nice. And then over here, I thought, you know, what if we make ourselves a good tower as well, because I actually like Deepslate. Deepslate seems to be my preferred type of block because not only is it more blast resistant, it also looks more dark, you know. So this is basically like an ancient city themed watchtower. We have a spruce door though, but we have oak for a dark oak rather for the flooring and the fences, and still is basically the same. It is 5x5, but it is spaced this time. So instead of having like a 5x5 block, we're gonna go with 5 blocks and then leave 1 block as a space, and then we go another 5 blocks there. And then to add more depth, I decided to put some Deepslate walls along the sides as well. Actually makes the tower that much bigger as well. As you can see, we have a lot more space inside the tower, you know. Looks pretty nice, and I've managed to make it 3 stories high. So up here we have a wider observation area. And then lastly, as we go up here, yeah, just to cover the space, you know, as you can see, this is the 5 blocks, and then there is the space. And then instead of just making the 5 blocks here, I just went 1 block diagonally and then made the other 5 blocks for the border. And the cell actually looked pretty good because you still have that alternating feel, or that look rather, which gives it a nice image of depth as well, as you can see. You know, it still looks pretty nice. And as we go over here, we have a different style of tower as well. This one's a medieval tower, you know, the more classic medieval tower. Again, we have some stone bricks and some cobblestone instead of regular stone, but the connected textures make it look really, really nice. And as you can see here, I decided to, you know, try to mess around a little bit again the same 5 blocks, but I did basically like a 2-block diagonal gap, as you can see here, but with a stone brick pillar on the side. So that allowed us to actually taper the wall inwards a little bit, so it looks like it thins out as you go higher, which for me actually looks pretty cool. And as we quickly go in and avoid the monsters, as you can see, it's also, you know, a little bit bigger than usual, which is pretty nice. And then the one thing that I had a problem making though is that since it thins down, it's kind of hard to make the ladders that go up, because, you know, you have to adjust accordingly. So this was the system that I had made. I just made an additional pillar there and then added the ladders there. And then here, yeah, just to make it look good, I just added a little bit more stone brick foundation along with the ladder that was already on the side. And that also gave us the ability to put these stone brick stairs on the corners to give us like small arrow slits, which would allow you to shoot from the corners and, you know, have a good look on the, basically, you know, around your tower. Then as you would come up here, here's where you'd have your roof along with the observation deck, and I managed to put my small flag over there as well, which is pretty nice. I like it. Looks pretty cool. And then once we go over here, this one's the funny part. I decided to make one of those medieval style towers that had overhang on them. So that was the reason why I had come up with this design. So as you can see here, still basically a 5x, this one's going back to the 5x5 block shape. And we managed to put the overhang by using spruce wood this time, along with spruce fences to act as like supports, which look pretty okay. And then as we climb up here, you have another small viewing area. And then as you come up here, this is where the main basically main watchtower area is. It's pretty nice as well, is that these spruce trap doors, if we go outside, will give you a very nice look of depth. And you also have these like machiculations, as you might call it, which is very medieval-esque, as not only watchtowers had them, but, you know, basically even castle walls would have them as well, so you could shoot from enemies below you. And to make it real quick, let's just go to creative mode so that I can fly up and hover. But yeah, there is what I've been telling, or I've been talking about. The trapdoors give a nice feeling of depth along with the stairs as the top block, so it makes it look more interesting. And funnily enough, the oxidized copper looks pretty good to me as a sort of like a medieval roof shingle block, which you can use. And overall, it makes a tower pretty interesting to look at as well. Although I'm not sure if putting a lightning rod would be good here, because it's definitely tempting, but, you know, with all the wood around, I think it could cause a fire. And then lastly, here we are with a big boy build. Now this is a Blackstone tower, and I really like the look of this boy. This is, you know, basically like one of those intimidating structures that you'd like to make in your SMP with your friends, because this is a multi-story tower, and this is good enough to be like a small base if you would want it to be as well, because as you can see here, we have 5 blocks again. I don't know why 5 blocks feels like the magic number for making watchtowers. It's really good. It's a really good amount of blocks. And then we go 3 blocks diagonally and then make another 5 blocks. And as you can see here, we have in those 3 diagonal blocks, we have Blackstone brick walls, and then we have basalt, polished basalt pillars behind them, which gives it a nice illusion of depth again as well. And it allows you to make the tower out of different materials. And of course, you can use your whatever material you'd like to use for any of your tower construction anyway. You could go crazy if you want. And yeah, and as we go up here, we taper the tower again a little bit, make it a little bit smaller, but still it has that 5x5 block shape, which is really fun because it makes the tower look, it gets smaller, but it doesn't like give you that much of a space reduction once you're inside the tower, because as you can see here, it still is very, very big. And that's why I said that it could also be good enough as, you know, like a small base of your own, because you have all of these little floors as well. As you can see here, we're already very high up, and oh, the castle isn't rendering completely. But yeah, once we're over here at the top, we have these Blackstone slabs to compensate for, you know, basically making the battlement pattern look okay. Or was these crenellations? Yeah, I think these are called crenellations if I'm not mistaken. And to top it all off, since we're a pretty big structure, I decided that maybe putting a signal fire would be good, so that you could really see it from afar. Like for example, if you're just making your way through the river here, then you suddenly come across this huge menacing tower. You know what I mean? Like, that's something that you won't see every day, isn't it? Like comparing our basic tower earlier to this big boy, it is a sight to behold. I know, isn't it? So yeah, that's basically it. I hope this has given you guys some inspiration, to making some towers. And, at least spicing up like your villages, because a couple of towers here and there around the village will actually make it look really, really interesting. Makes it look like the village is rich. So yeah, anyways, that was it, and hope you all enjoyed.